Gargi Arora in conversation with Lama Yashi, a Buddhist monk, and we're going to talk about Buddhism. Lama Yashi, we would like to know from you a very powerful emotion which impacts all of us, attachment.
Yeah.
What is the cause of attachment?
The cause of attachment, the main cause of attachment, with anything there's never just one cause, but the main cause of our attachment is that we think things are always going to be here. Things will last forever. So we build a house and we think that house is going to be here forever. We buy a car, we think the car will be here forever. We find somebody that we love and we think they'll stay with us forever. So it's getting attached to impermanent things. So we're trying to find permanent happiness from impermanent things. It's not possible. So the main cause of our attachment is impermanence, not understanding that things are impermanent.
So how can we reduce the impact of this kind of emotion?
Yeah, just to see that things are impermanent. Just spend some time. Intellectually, if I say things are impermanent, intellectually everybody will be like, oh yeah, they are.
But it's very hard to practice that.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
So that's where it comes in, the practice, the effort to really take the understanding, which is knowledge, intellectual side of it, and turn it into wisdom, which means you make it part of your life. You make it the very essence of who you are. So you don't have to think about it. That's who you are. You see everything as impermanent, and you see the things are here now, and I'm enjoying them, and it's great. But it may not last. But while it's here, I'm enjoying. But
Lama Yashi, even if we know all these things, sometimes what happens is, in the process of our daily life, there are few things we don't notice. But when they're not there, we realize that how attached we could be to those things. Like I may not be very comfortable with the stray dogs, but if they're not there, then also one keeps thinking, okay, I hope they're fine or whatever. Isn't that attachment also which we don't get to know, but we just build it up over some time with a lot of things around us?
Yeah, it is. We get attached to everything. We get attached to ourselves. We get attached to the image that we put out there, that we portray to other people. We get attached to that. We get attached to the clothes. We get attached to weather. Some people say, I really like hot weather. Other people, I really like cold weather. We get attached to days. I remember when I used to work, we worked Monday to Friday. So then people used to hate Monday and love Friday.
Yes.
And everybody hated Wednesday because 2 days have gone and you still got 2 days to go. So we get attached to things like that. So we can get attached to our thoughts, we can get attached to our feelings, our emotions. So, anything we can get attached to. But all of these things are impermanent. The days, the time, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions. Just think, this morning you got up and for some reason you was a little bit irritable, and then you saw somebody that you're friendly with and you liked, and you had a conversation and a cup of coffee, and then you were happy. So your feeling has changed from irritable to happy. Then you drove in the car, then somebody cut you up and you're back to being irritable again, and then somebody made you angry, then somebody made you happy. You see, so all these things are forever changing. So when we try to cling on to things, we cause ourselves suffering. When we get attached to these things, it's like you go on holiday with your friends, group of friends. You have the best time of your life. It was so good, and next year you think it was so good, and you're so attached to that next year you all go back to the same place, and it is completely different because the world has moved on. It's not permanent. So that same experience you had last year, you're not going to get this year. And then you're going to think, oh, it was better last year. So we get attached to all things around us. And it's because everything is forever changing. Everything is in the flux. So
there are few things, which we can call energy vampires. you know, the few things that really pull us down. It could be a person, it could be a car, it could be anything. But still, you know, that keeps dominating our thought process, our mind. Isn't that attachment too?
Yeah.
When we are continuously thinking of something
Yes.
over a period of time.
Yeah, that's you know, attachment doesn't mean just being attached to good things. We get attached to bad things as well. So yeah, attachment, we can be attached to good and bad. So
And bad as well.
yeah, so yeah, we can get attached to bad. So, you know, and once we've started getting attached, then we start to suffer. Then the suffering comes in because things cannot last. They will never last. So if we just enjoy them, knowing they're going to end, then great. When they end, we were ready for that. Look, I'll give you a story here. Somebody down the road from you, where you live, somebody dies. You didn't know them very well. In fact, they only lived down the road. You didn't really know them. Somebody came to you and said, oh, the person down the road has just died. And you go, oh yeah, that's sad. And then you get on with your day. Or somebody comes to you and said to you, oh, your friend has died. And then you're like, oh, crying, and then how can I carry on, and I'll miss them, and oh, it's awful, and life will never be the same again. So what is the difference? And the difference is attachment. The person down the road, you're not attached to that person, so he died, and then okay, it's sad, and move on. No attachment. Your friend dies, then it's all big tears and sadness, and I don't know how I can carry on, because of attachment. You're holding on. You're holding on to that friend. You didn't see that that friend was impermanent. Even though, just look around you, open a newspaper, turn on the news, how many people are dead? Every day people are dying. But still, we hold on. So, we know intellectually impermanence is there. We know, look at ourselves. Sorry?
Does that mean we are not awake? We are not mindful?
Yeah, we're not being mindful, and we're not awake. You know, when we're awake, then we will see the world as it really is, and not how we're trying to mould it or trying to make the world. We'll see the world exactly how it is. Then you're awake. But until you reach that stage, then, you know, you have to work on yourself. You have to be mindful. You have to ensure that just let things be.
The way they are.
You know, we can't, we find somebody we love, we try to mould them. We try to control them. We try to change them. Oh yeah, I really love this person, but I'd love them better if they shaved and they cut their hair and they wore these clothes. Or then I'd love them even more. So we're not content with just finding somebody. We try to mould them and try to change them. We try to control them. We get attached to them. So, you know, if you were walking down the road and you saw a beautiful flower, and then you
get
stood
attracted
there,
to that.
yeah, and you get attracted, you think, oh, that's a beautiful
Beautiful
flower, yeah. And then you just walk away from that flower and you leave it there for other people to see. That's love. But if you walk down the road and you see that flower and you take it, that's attachment. So there's a difference between love and attachment. If you love something, then you'll just be with it and you'll just let it be itself. So the person you love, you won't try to control them.
Yes.
You will just let them be themselves. But if you're attached to them, you'll try to control them. You'll try to hold on to them. Even if you know that, okay, we had a good time together, it's now over. You won't let them go because you're attached to them. So this is the difference between love and attachment. The love, you will leave that flower and it was beautiful and you would walk away and let other people appreciate it. Or if it's attachment, you take it home, you put it, you know, on your side, and then you sit and watch it.
That.
Well, I'm not going in that argument.
Okay, there's something I want to ask you. There's some text I was reading, and there's a lady who wants to ask. She has she's been, you know, seen a lot of suffering in her life, from accidents to losing money to losing her child. So she says, is it because she's getting attracted to wrong things in her life? Is it destiny, or is it an attachment to negativity?
Yeah, I don't believe there's any such thing as destiny. If there's something destined means that it's pre-written. So if things are pre-written, then what is the point? What is the point of religions? What is the point of spirituality? What is the point of doing your best to be the most kind and compassionate person if it's already written?
So you
then
feel
you
it's
have
not
no
her
control.
destiny.
Yeah, I don't believe there's any such thing as destiny.
She's responsible for the choices she's making.
We all have to take responsibility. You know, if we say that things are destined or, it's God's will, you hear all the time people, oh, it's God's will. Then where's the responsibility? You
Yes,
did it.
Yes.
You did that action.
Yeah,
Why don't
absolutely.
you take responsibility for that action instead of saying, oh,
We're
it's
blaming
God's
God
will.
too much.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're blaming anybody, not just God.
Mm.
If anything happens, we would easily blame somebody else rather than blame ourselves. First of all, it's your fault. And then if it's not your fault, then it'll be their fault or their fault. It'll be somebody's fault, but it won't be my fault. So yeah, we have to take responsibility for our actions. Of course we do. And the more that we look inside of us, the more that we get to know ourselves, then the more we will take responsibility for our actions.
For our actions.
So it's the clinging to things, the attachment that's going to cause us suffering. And if we see things as impermanent, then we're not going to hold on tightly to them, and then we're not going to get the suffering.
I think clinging to experiences also can be
Anything.
one form of attachment.
Yeah, anything. We cling to all different things.
So there's a thin line between love and attachment, and something that we need to be careful and mindful about.
Yeah, there's a very thin line,
Very
but
thin line.
just let something be and love it. Or attachment is hold on to it and control it.
Okay.
That's the difference.
Okay. Thank you, Lamesh.
No, you're welcome.